Hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Perez, part of the education team for Clairol Professional. Thank you for taking the time to join us on our latest webcast. In case you haven't heard, Clairol Professional just added 6 new shades to the Liquid Color Permanente palette. You and your client are going to love these new shades called Gray Busters NN. I'm going to give you all the details of these new shades like the tonal results, who they work best on, and when to use them. We also have a design team artist here to demonstrate a fun and easy technique that you can take back to your salon. So this new pillar called Intense Neutrals includes our Gray Busters NN shades that are formulated to give rich tones, multi-dimensional color, and excellent gray coverage on resistant gray hair. Let's talk about what we mean by resistant gray hair. Chances are you've encountered this situation where no matter how long you leave the color on your client's hair, or maybe you've even tried adjusting the formula by going a level darker and adding more neutral, but you're still not getting the great coverage your client wants, especially around the hairline. This would be an example of a client with resistant gray hair, which is why we introduced a new tonal pillar called Intense Neutral. And like all the Clairol Professional liquid color lines, the NN shades are also formulated with soy 4-plex for the 4 signs of healthy looking color, which are deep conditioning, reflective shine, multi-dimensional shades, and long-lasting results. So now that you have 2 choices in the neutral family, let's talk about what types of clients you would use the NN shades for. Gray Busters NN shades are great for your clients that prefer rich tones, whether they're blonde or brunette. I like to use them on my clients with resistant gray hair because they give rich tones and excellent gray coverage. The best part of having more neutral shades to choose from is that you can really customize your client's formulas according to your client's needs. And as an artist, who doesn't love having more shades in their paint box? And as stylists, we're more visual learners. So let me show you the difference on these swatches. The swatch on the right is Liquid Color Permanente Gray Busters 6N/86N with 20 volume. The swatch on the left is Liquid Color Permanente Gray Busters 6NN with 20 volume. The starting level of the swatches was 100% white. See the difference? The tonal result from the N shade is a neutral tone, while the tonal result from the NN shade is a rich tone. The NN shades from the Intense Neutral pillar are rich pigmentation, which is essential when covering resistant gray hair. This side-by-side comparison on swatches may appear subtle, but try mixing them with your existing liquid color formulas, and you'll see how these shades can create endless possibilities in customizing your formulas. So now you can see why the NN shades are the perfect addition to our liquid color palette. But they're not just for covering grays. How many times have you had an end of summer blonde client walk in with faded over-lightened hair? But now you have a simple corrective solution that doesn't require complicated formulating because you can simply low light with 8NN or 9NN. This will put dimension back in the hair without it looking drab or turning brown. And because the NN shades deposit rich tones without adding unwanted warmth, they're a great option for adding subtle depth and contrast. But you don't have to worry about it turning brassy. The darker shades like 4NN and 5NN are the perfect solution to spice up your brunette client's color that has maybe started to look a little dull and lifeless. And the best part about the NN shades is that they're intermixable with all the other liquid color Permanente shades, so you can customize your formulas based on your client's needs. Now on to our demonstration. We have Julie Cornejo here from the Clairol Professional Design Team to show you step-by-step a fun and easy technique using Gray Busters NN shades. Stay tuned afterwards for formulation tips and techniques.
Hi, I'm Julie Cornejo from the Clairol Professional Design Team. I'm excited to be here with you today to share a quick and efficient way to get beautiful and dimensional results even on your clients with resistant gray hair. Now let's get started. This is my model Renee. She's a natural level 4 and she's 75% gray. So what we're going to do is a quick and easy technique that's really fun to do in the salon and creates dimension and shine, and of course we're going to be covering her gray hair. So what I'd like to do is show you what we're going to be using in order to create this look. We're going to be using basic white with 10 volume developer. We're also going to be using, from our liquid color line, our new Double Neutral Series 5NN, which is the lightest natural brown. And we're also going to be using a 7NN, which is a medium blonde natural. Now, the Double Neutral Series is going to create excellent gray coverage for this particular look. So let me show you the sectioning that we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is Renee parts her hair on the left, so we're going to take this section from the right. The highlights that we're going to create in Renee's hair are going to be a veil. So it allows her to wear the highlights and the dimension in her hair for a long time. So she won't have to come back into the salon to have her highlights retouched every single time she comes in to have her gray touched up. So what we're going to do is just from the far part of the eye, you're going to go straight back to where the head just starts to curve, right where the head is flat. And then from that point, you're going to go across and make another straight line in the back. What we want to create is a triangular section. So from the front of your section, you're going to go all the way back to the point, and you're going to create a triangle. Once we have our triangle, and we make sure that our section is really clean, you always want to work very clean and very neat, especially when you're doing dimensional work and covering gray. So this is our section that we're going to be applying 7NN. And to create the dimension with this color, what we're going to do is we're going to add foils underneath the triangle. So let me clip this up so we can see the sections really well. And it's basically just creating a section on the top of the head that's a triangle. And you want to work off of either the parting that they part their hair naturally, or you can work off the parting if you want to create some underneath dimension. So we're going to be placing our foils, again, with basic white and 10 volume developer. And then we're going to be using 7NN in the top section to create some lightness and, again, dimension. And then we're going to be using the 5NN on the bottom. We're going to get great coverage. We're going to get amazing shine and incredible dimension. And this is a really easy technique to do in the salon. As you can see, we've created this great triangle section on the top of her head. And what's excellent about this technique is not only am I going to be placing foils in it, and I'm using the Double Neutral Series Level 5, I'm using the Double Neutral Series Level 7, but you could create whatever color palette you want with this specific technique. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place the foils. And what I want you to do is you're just going to take a section about an inch under your line for the triangle. So you want to go where your first triangle is, the first line, and you want to go about an inch underneath it. We're going to be using our basic white with 10 volume. The reason I'm using 10 volume is because what you're going to get from 10 volume is more working time. So when you're going to be placing a color all over the head, you want to make sure that you have time to work. 10 volume will give me the time that I need. So you want to place the first foil in, and you're going to do a slicing technique. So not a weave, but an actual slice. All this dimension is going to be on the inside. And what's great about that is that your client doesn't need to have this touched up at every single service. She'll only need to have the highlights touched up about every other time she visits the salon. So you're going to continue this around the head. On the sections, you're going to do 3 slices. So you want to have hair in between where you're going to be placing your next color, but you're going to do 3 slices leading up to your line from your triangle. The Double Neutral Series, not only is it excellent for gray coverage, but it's our intense neutral. So even on someone who doesn't have gray hair, who wants a really rich, warm brown, you will get a beautiful, beautiful color. I love to use these on brunettes to create caramel shades and warm brown tones. Whenever you're using any of the Clairol Professional products, you always want to make sure that you're mixing them with our Clairol Professional developers. In this case, for these highlights, I'm just using a 10 volume. And this will be my last foil in this section, right up to the line. So you still have your triangle up here. And we're just applying the lightener to create dimension. And what I told Renee when we talked about her hair color was that I was going to rearrange her color. Because you can see that she has some lightness, she has some highlights in her hair, but I want to give her a fresh new look. And this is a great way to do it. Now that we've placed our foils around our triangle section, we have 3 foils in 3 different sections. So when you think of the triangle, it has 3 sides. So you want to just go, like I said, about an inch in and do slices leading up to the very top section, which is the flat part of your triangle. After you've placed all your foils in, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that gray covered for sure. And we're going to richen all of the hair at the ends by applying the color not only at the scalp area, but all the way through the ends of the hair using, again, our 5NN and our 7NN. Now, the 7NN is going to go on the top because we want this to be the lightest part of this technique. And underneath, where we have this little pop of color coming out, the depth from the 5NN is really going to make that stand out and make it look really dimensional and really, really beautiful. I'm going to start applying the color in the back sections. It's really important that when you are going to be applying hair color, number one, to very long hair and also to hair that is dry like this, when you're going to apply color from the scalp to the ends, you want to make sure that there's a little bit of moisture or dampness at the ends of the hair. You don't want it wet, but it will fill the hair a little bit and allow you to work a little bit easier with your product. I have 2 colors mixed. Again, it's my 5NN and my 7NN. The 5NN we're going to start applying on the bottom. And what's really important about when you apply a color all over the hair, you want to make sure that your sections are neat and clean and even. So we're going to start on the bottom. I'm going to just take my foils from the back section and I'm going to clip them out of the way so that I can work on the hair that's at the very top and at the very bottom. So it's really important while working neatly and cleanly that you make sure that this hair is all the way combed through before you start your application. And I'm just going to use a light mist with the water bottle. I do not want to make her hair wet, but I want to make it easier for me to apply the color. So after I mist it, I'm just going to comb through that hair. So when you do this application, it's best to start your application through the bottom of the hair. The reason for that is that you're working all down. So that way you don't have hair flipping over the top of her head and getting on her face and getting her dirty. That's never a good look in the salon. So I'm going to clip all that hair up out of the way, and I'm going to make sure, first I'm going to be using my 5NN, and that's the color that's going to go underneath. And when you apply this color, you want to make sure that you're paying close attention to the gray coverage, because your client does not want to leave the salon with any of her grays peeking through. And the double neutral series is going to allow you to get excellent gray coverage and a beautiful warm results. And you want to apply it all the way down through the ends. Now I am working with 20 volume developer because I want to make sure that she's getting that excellent gray coverage that she needs. When she comes back into the salon for a retouch, you can always switch your end color to be a demi-permanent, perhaps using the Clairol Professional's Demi-Permanent Premium Cream. You can also, if you're a liquid color user, you can also use this formula and use on the ends your same formula and use a 10 volume developer. That would work as well. Now that we've applied our 5NN to all of the hair, we've also applied 5NN in between the foils. What's really important about this is that you make sure that when you're going to be covering gray and you're doing a procedure where you're going to have multiple colors as well as foils and or any block hair coloring technique, it's really important to color what I call in between the seams. So that means that everywhere you see a seam for your hair color technique, whether it's a block hair color technique or whether it's a foiling technique, you want to make sure that you color really well in between the seams. So now I'm going to switch to my 7NN. And I want to show you while I apply this that I'm actually almost applying on top of the foil. The reason I do that is just like I said, applying in between the seams. You don't want any hair that doesn't get color. When you apply this color, it's best to color your parting first. So in the case of having the triangle on the top of the head, I am putting the color at her base of the triangle. And I'm making sure that every single hair is covered. Again, you can take this top section down because now I have colored all in between my partings with the 7NN. You want to make sure that you have all the hair properly saturated so that you have an even end color results and that you're focusing on really getting the gray coverage. Now that we've finished applying our color, I just want to recap what we've done. The first thing we did is we took a triangular section on the top of her head. From that triangular section, we placed 3 foils with a slicing technique all around the triangle on all 3 sides. So you have a total of 9 foils. We used basic white and 10 volume developer for that. Then what we did is we started applying our darkest color, which was 5NN. We applied that all to the back and in between the foils. After that, we finished our triangular section with a 7NN. Now our complete timing for this, to assure excellent gray coverage, is going to be 45 minutes. Here's our finished result. We got excellent gray coverage, but it looks natural and shiny. Thanks to Clairol Professional, Liquid Color, Gray Busters, Double Neutral Shades, you can get deep conditioning and shine from our Soy 4-Plex. But you still take care of what's most important, which is excellent gray coverage. Feel free to take this technique as an inspiration and modify it to suit your client's needs. Thanks for joining me today. And now back to Lindsay.
Here are a few tips and formulation techniques to ensure you get the best results when using Liquid Color Permanente, Gray Busters, and N shades. The first tip is about shade selection. If you're having challenges with resistant gray hair and you don't want to change the level of darkness or lightness, select an NN shade that is 1 level lighter than the current N shade that you're using. For example, if you're currently using Gray Busters 6N/86N, use Gray Busters 7NN. This will avoid getting results that are too dark for your client. And for best results, make sure to mix equal parts with a Clairol Professional developer like Pure White or Clairoxide. Here's another tip. In order to get the best gray coverage when mixing the NN shades with other tonal pillars like ash, gold, or red, always mix the same percentage of NN as the same percentage of gray in your client's hair. Let's say your client is a natural level 5 and has 25% gray. She wants a beautiful rich red, but her main concern is to cover the gray. In this case, you would mix a ½ ounce of 5NN with 1½ ounces of 5RR and 20 volume Clairol Professional developer. And as far as timing goes, 45 minutes is the recommended time for maximum gray coverage even when you're using the NN shades. Well, that wraps it up for today, but feel free to revisit this video anytime in case you need a refresher on the tips, technique, or maybe you want to share it with a friend. You can also contact us on our hotline or through our website in case you have any questions. We'd also like to invite you to tell us what types of techniques or education you want to see featured in the next webcast, whether it's color correction or more gray coverage techniques. Whatever it is that you want to learn more about, you can submit your request by leaving a post on our Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us today, and remember to stay tuned for the next webcast by visiting our website or check out our Facebook page. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.